welcome everyone. My name is Janet. I'm working through the King James Bible. Today I'm in the book of Kings, the first part. I'm working through chapters 8 and 9. So I will give a summary right after this short interlude. Now, if you've read chapter 7 or if you watch my previous video, you will know that now King Solomon has built this temple for the Lord, and it's an elaborate temple. It's got gold all inside. There is flowers carved in the walls. We've got cherubims at the front. Everything's sectioned off like it was in the tabernacle, which is the tent version that the Israelites had when they were traveling in the wilderness. So now, as we start chapter 8, King Solomon has declared the temple is ready, and he's asking all of the tribes of Israel to come forth as they welcome in the Ark of the Covenant, which holds the Lord in place, and that is going to be brought into the temple, put right in between those cherubims by the priests themselves. So just to show you a picture of where that goes, there we have it. You will see the Ark of the Covenant right in between the cherubims, right in its holy place. So we are made aware that it's the 7th month whilst this time is taking place. So while the Lord is coming in there, they're having a festival and a feast, the Israelites, they're offering burnt offerings to the Lord. And as the priests go in there and place that Ark of the Covenant into its rightful holy place, the whole temple fills up with a cloud. So much so that the priests can no longer get on with their duties and they have to leave the temple. And this is announced that this is the glory of the Lord. And King Solomon knew this was God. This was confirmation to him because the Lord had spoke to him and said that he would reside in thick darkness. Now, as this festival is coming to an end, King Solomon takes this opportunity to tell the Israelites exactly what God has done for them, that he got them out of Egypt from their slavery. He brought them along through the wilderness to the promised land. He has made them overcome their enemies, and now they are here with this beautiful temple, and they have a place of abundance. This is all because the Lord has blessed them. He also goes on to say about how his father was not able to build the temple, but he told his father that his son would be the one to make God's temple, which they have done. So God has worked through Solomon, and here we have this wonderful temple here today. Solomon then prays to God, and he asks that he will hear and he will see the people, all those that pray towards this temple, even strangers, he says. If they believe in this Lord that is the Lord of heaven, the Lord of earth, and the Lord of Israel, the only Lord, then they will be blessed. Now the Israelites celebrated for 14 days, and King Solomon on the 8th day allows anybody who wants to go home, if they choose, can go home. And this closes chapter 8. Now as we open chapter 9, God appears to Solomon again for a second time after the completion of the temple, and he acknowledges Solomon's prayers for the people. He says that they will be seen and they will be heard. Anybody and everybody who believes in the Lord of Israel, who prays towards this temple, will be blessed by God. So he's giving Solomon his assurity that that's his word. He will look after them as long as they follow his statutes, obviously, and commandments. He also tells Solomon to walk with integrity and to follow in the footsteps of his father David. And when he does this, he will always be blessed. Now, if not, as we know from previous chapters, when previous rulers have been there, if they have gone against God, they will be cursed. And he does the same here again. He lays out the consequences for if they go against his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. So this would mean God would cut off the Israelites. He would destroy the home that they'd built. Other nations would look down upon them. All of this will happen if they fail to follow God's commandments. And everyone would know that because they have gone against the Lord, that all this negativity that is happening to them is because they are not following God's laws. So pretty severe consequences if they go against, but abundance, blessed, and a happy life if they stay following his rules. Next we have Hiram of Tyre. Now he is the guy who basically provided the labour and the resources to build this temple and this palace for King Solomon. Now he visits Solomon to view the 20 cities Solomon gave to him in Galilee. Now Hiram apparently wasn't too happy with these cities that Solomon had given to him, so regardless, he still gave Solomon 120 talents of gold. Now all of the work and the manpower that had gone into building Solomon's kingdom and the cities that he gifted to neighbouring rulers meant that Solomon had to raise his taxes pretty high in Israel. So now Israel, really what they have now is large entities. They have a palace for King Solomon. They also have this temple for the Lord and a wall for Jerusalem. So they have built quite a lot in this time of King Solomon's leadership. We next hear in this chapter that Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, he took over the city of Giza, which had Canaanites residing there. So he basically got them all out and he gives that city to his daughter, which is the wife of Solomon. Now those in bondage to Israel were the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. They were all slaves to Israel. They had to pay high taxes and tribute payments to Israel. Now, none of the Israelites were slaves because they were part of his government officials. They included his military, his captains, his chief officials, chariot leaders, and officials for building his new building projects. So we can see that King Solomon was really good at building industry, and that's what he is doing. Under his reign, things are starting to really develop. And 3 times a year, Solomon made special sacrifices to the Lord. He even built a special altar to do this. And this was to carry out the obligations that he had towards the temple of the Lord. Now he even had ships built, and Hiram had some of his men actually work on these ships, and they sailed to Ophir and they brought back 420 talents of gold to King Solomon. So, having ships now, they can get more resources, and they're obviously bringing that back, and it's expanding the wealth of Israel. So this is where we close chapter 9. So Solomon is really proving to be a worthy leader of the Israelites. And we will continue tomorrow with more chapters within the Book of Kings to see how his kingdom continues to expand. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care now. Bye.